Hey there guys, Aldershot here, and today we're going to do an early impression on NeonXSZ, developed by Intravenous Software. It will be available on Steam's early access at the regular price of $20. Now I do want to remind the folks out there that because it's on early access, that by the time you watch this, the game very well could have changed, new features added, updates, etc, etc. So I do recommend, if you are curious to NeonXSZ, at the very least check out Steam's page so you're kept up to date with the latest version. Alright, so anyways, what is NeonXSZ anyways? Well, it's essentially, to put it in a nutshell, a first-person flight shooter with some RPG and sandbox elements kind of mixed in as well. Let's explore some of the options and features just so you guys know what you're getting yourselves into. We have multiple difficulties. Now I do want to let the people know that even on the default difficulty under experienced, certain parts of the game is already fairly challenging, so turn it up at your own accord. But if you do turn up the difficulty, your loot drops will be better, so there is benefits to it as well. We also have options, of course. Now unfortunately the video options are quite lackluster, not much in the way of customization as you can see. We also have audio options, which is quite similar, as in a little bit lacking, but it is what it is. Now fortunately the control options is quite robust. There's a lot of different things you can do here. You can customize pretty much every key that you want, which is great, as well as sensitivities, etc, etc, which is all good stuff really. Then we also have a fourth option, which is a welcomed little feature in which you can is the customize option, by the way. You can go into different visual looks of the game, which is an interesting option, of course. We're going to stick with gray matter, so what we've been using for the most part. Anyways, let's get into the game so we can start exploring what it's all about. Let's continue a game we already got started, so we're starting off with something that is worth talking about because our ship's already kind of upgraded a little bit. So this is NeonXSZ. As you can see, it is a kind of a flight game. So generally speaking, the overall purpose of your game is to essentially fly around the space station that you're in, look for enemy ships and kill them, and then loot their, their ship, their destroyed ship, for currency, which is uranium in this game, as well as materials. And you'll use that stuff to upgrade weaponry and different aspects of your shield. So that's kind of the RPG element in this game. It is a little bit grindy, a tad bit. Now, you do have an open world. We'll talk about the grind a little bit more in a second now. You can actually combat pause, just like that, so you can interact with your HUD and kind of see what's going on the screen, so you can kind of strategically plan what you're going to do. Over here on the bottom left-hand corner is my map. You'll see like this holographic kind of map thing going on here. This is essentially the space station that I'm in. Alright. And you can explore that to your liking, and as you level up and get upgrades and all that stuff, when you're prepared, you can also go into different space stations of higher levels, allowing you to fight different mobs, as well as gaining more valuable loot and currency and all that sort of stuff. And you can actually find different sort of stations and towns, kind of like this. It's very cyberpunky, as you can see, but yeah, they'll have different things, usually friendlies, unless you stop into an enemy's town, I guess you can call it. The towns do serve a few purposes. Obviously, one purpose is to give you a little bit of support. If you're in a bad combat situation, you can kind of lead your enemy to one of the friendly stations, and then you can have some friendly support, which is kind of nice. But also they have like these kind of garage upgrading stations as well. We'll explore that a little bit. This is kind of where you can upgrade your ship, which I'll show you a little bit of that now. Just a very brief overview of how you can customize and upgrade your ship, because it's actually quite robust, and there's a lot of layers to kind of understand and learn. So essentially this is my ship. You can kind of rotate it around. And each one of these nodes you can kind of fill with different aspects, either the engine, the shields, your battery, your weapon, missiles, etc, etc. Lots of stuff to customize, and you simply just have to click on something like that. Let's see here, armory, click on this, there you go. You have a vast array, I guess you say, of different things you can kind of put in there. Let's see, we got our missiles there, we got that installed, and you can actually overclock certain aspects as well, which will further upgrade and power up different weaponry and stuff like that. There's different weapons, and you can also get bots and sentries and all these other sort of stuff, and missiles, different weapons. I think I said weapons like 100 times now. Obviously, there's a lot of weapons that you can get. But yeah, a pretty robust upgrade system. There's a few things to upgrade. You have your energy, which is essentially your stamina, to break it down. And you have your energy recharge, which is essentially your stamina recharge. You need your energy to do everything, to fly around, use your weapons, use your boosts, etc, etc. You can upgrade your shield, of course, and your shield recharge, and your engine as well, and you can upgrade your missiles and your miscellaneous slots as well, where you can put in different nodes such as passive upgrades, or you can put in bots or different weaponry, etc, etc. So as you can see, the upgrade system is rather robust and offers lots of customizations. You can also get new ships as well, different hulls, and they'll feature their own stats such as armor, speed, missile counts, etc, etc. Right now I'm using the Dart because it's a faster version of the default ship, which is the M1 Raptor. I have the Viper as well, but I find the missile count on that's too low for me to really enjoy playing, so I'm using the Dart. It's nice and fast as well, which just suits my style of play. So there you go, lots and lots to customize and upgrade. Pretty much every aspect of your ship is customizable and upgradable, which is great for RPG fans who like that kind of stuff, or even just video game fans in general, as most games have like an upgrade system these days. But this one does it really well, and as I mentioned, it's quite robust, offers a lot of opportunity to customize and make interesting builds and all that sort of stuff. Now the way you kind of upgrade is by killing mobs, of course, and you're gonna just kind of want to fly around the space station that you're in and killing enemy ships and collect the materials that they drop, as well as this thing here, which is uranium, which is essentially gold or classic styles of currency that you'll find in RPGs, and that's used to purchase various things, as you would imagine, such as upgrades and new weaponries, etc, etc. I think you guys kind of get the point. Now, unlike other grindy kind of RPG-esque games, such as, let's say, Borderlands or Diablo, where you're really just kind of killing mobs, so they'll drop random items, and the items will have various stats, and you're really just kind of hoping to get the best min-max stat of that version of the weapon that you're going after. Well, this game doesn't actually drop individual items. Rather, you just collect the mats that's dropped from the ships, as well as the currency, and you can actually choose what your next upgrade is by the store that I showed earlier. Right now I'm just kind of flying through the station looking for enemies to kill. There's going to be a bit of this. But that's generally how the grinding works. So you're not really grinding for loot, rather you're grinding for materials and currency. I don't mind that, actually. I think Warframe, which is also kind of a grinding game as well, does it the same way. You don't really grind for loot. Actually, certain parts you do. But mostly you're grinding for currency and materials, and this game is similar in that fashion as well. You're really just grinding for currency and materials, so you can choose which upgrade to get next, which I think is a good thing, because then the player has more control of how you're developing your character, rather than leaving it to random loot drops and letting the drops decide what kind of build you create. And so that's generally how the game kind of handles it. So it is a little bit grindy. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Hopefully we'll find some mobs here. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because some people actually like grindy games. I'm one of them. There's a hostile around here somewhere. Let's see. Well, he's here somewhere. We'll find him. But anyways, I got like 1,300 hours or so into Borderlands 2 and countless more into games like Diablo 3. So obviously, I don't mind the grind as long as the grind is well designed. Okay? And I have to say, NeonXSZ, they've done a pretty good job at keeping the grind interesting and fun between going through different space stations, hunting down enemy ships to kill for their mats and currency. I rather enjoy it, actually, and every time I upgrade my ship, I'm very, very excited to see what it can do, especially when I get a new hull, which is essentially a whole new ship altogether. Alright, now, I know some people are a little bit more sensitive to grinds. Let's see, can I comment this guy? He's a little bit high of a level. Let's see, this guy, much more capable. Anyways, as I was saying, some people are sensitive to grinds. They're not as, they don't look at grinding as favorably as myself, let's say. And for those, I say you might want to do a little bit more research into NeonXSZ, as I feel the game really is designed around the grind. The game does give you a few varieties and ways that you can grind, either through going through the space station and hunting them down, or you can go through these kind of centralized areas, which can teleport you to different areas such as challenge rooms and different space stations and all that sort of stuff. So that definitely helps mix things up. And also the openness, the sandbox feel of NeonXSZ definitely helps, as well as exploration. Definitely helps keep the grind kind of interesting and versatile, which is good to see. But again, if you're not interested in grindy games, again, you might want to do a little bit more research before you make this purchase. But those who do play grindy games, who don't mind it as long as the grind is well designed, hey, that rhymed. Then NeonXSZ might be kind of interesting to you, because like I said, the grind is actually fairly well designed, lots of customization and builds for you to kind of try out, and different things to kind of gain and different upgrades, which is of course a good thing. So there you go. It is a little bit grindy, like I said, but generally speaking, it's a fairly well designed grind. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. I have to say the controls are pretty well done as well. I don't really play a lot of sim flight games, or flight games in general at all. Oh, this guy's a bit high level. Let's run away, because I think we're going to get our asses kicked. But yeah, as I was saying, I don't really play a lot of flight games, but I actually grasped NeonXSZ quite quickly as far as controlling the ship is concerned. You have your WASD to kind of move around, you have your Q and E to do barrel rolls, as you can see, R and F to move up and down on the Y axis, and you have your C to automatically kind of right yourself. Alright, so the controls is fairly easy to understand if you ask me. It didn't take me too long to understand it, and coming from a person that doesn't play a lot of flight games, I think that really is a testament of how well designed the general control is. Now with that said, I have to say that NeonXSZ does have a bit of a learning curve, because when I first got into this game, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There's no real narrative to kind of direct you to your objectives, and there's not really a tutorial outside of a help menu that's in the options that you can kind of consult. It just throws you right into the fire, right into this open world, and honestly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was shooting everything that I could, even friendlies, not knowing what I was doing. But eventually I grasped it. I started to understand how to customize my ship. I understood that the game's about killing ships and collecting their mats and currency to upgrade my ship, and then repeat and rinse. So once I grasped that, I started enjoying the game quite a bit, and obviously understood how to play a lot better. So again, it does take a little bit of learning to really get a good feel of the game, but once you get past that hump, I feel the game is relatively enjoyable for the most part. Now, graphically speaking, you know, it does the job. It's quite visually stunning. It definitely has a nice style to it, and it keeps it simple, to say the least. Okay, it does keep it simple because, as you can see, the textures is really just a monochromatic kind of color, essentially, with the edges of the polygon really filling in the rest of the detail. We're running low on energy here, but overall it's stylized well. Even if, you know, the textures are relatively simple, it does look good for what it is. This style is definitely there. Aesthetically, it is actually quite good looking for the most part. Simple is the way I would put it, but well designed. It was a well designed kind of simplicity, I like to say. Now let's kind of talk about what the hell is going on. Let's actually talk about a little bit more in depth about the mechanics, because I feel that's very important. Now we can combat pause, as you can see, and that's for a few reasons. So we can kind of understand the combat situation, so we can select our targets. You know, we're selecting the enemy ship right now, of course. And this is kind of your HUD area, and you can actually interact with this HUD area, which I really like. It helps keep the player kind of immersed into the game. You have different weapons to select from. Right now I'm using kind of like a fire inferno weapon. I'm going to try the lightning weapon. It's shorter range, but it's a lot more powerful. But this guy's way too powerful for me, so I'm actually going to get out of here. Let's actually keep talking about the HUD a little bit. Over here is my energy bar. As you can see, it's completely depleted. You need energy for everything, so upgrading your battery I recommend doing. And obviously it slowly recharges as well. Now moving forward, using your boosters, using your weapons, shooting your missiles, etc., everything takes energy. Alright, so you do have to micromanage that. Now on the flip side, the enemy also have the same handicap as well. So you can take that into account during combat if you're well versed in this game enough. So there is that, and over here you have your holographic map, which I pointed out earlier, and over here is kind of cool. You have a camera which shows different various things. You can actually turn it off and on as well. You can show the back of your ship, you can show your enemy, etc., You can select through this different properties and customize it that way. And right here shows your missiles, how much missiles you have, and over here shows how much uranium, which is your currency, that you're currently holding. Let's see, what else is there? There's also, yeah, so basically that's the HUD, and again is interactable, which is actually quite nice, and definitely keeps the player immersed into the game. Right now this area that we're in is kind of like a central hub. You can kind of fly from different space stations. Right now we only discovered one. But other than that, we can also go into these kind of challenge rooms as well. And this is another way to kind of farm for materials and currency as well. You don't have to just kind of float around in the space station hunting down enemy ships. You can actually go into the central hub area and go into these kind of challenge rooms and face off enemy ships that way as well. Actually, you know what? I think I've already completed this challenge room. Oh no, never mind. There is some ships here, so let's take care of them. Now, where is he? Let's show off some of the dogfighting potential in this game, because it actually gets pretty exciting once you get a hold of the controls and understand it a little bit better. Now, I'm really low on energy, and that's a bit of a handicap, so I got to slow down. Like I say, you do have to kind of micromanage your energy quite a bit in this game. Alright, I need to get something to recharge it faster. So you're going to want to kind of take cover and avoid the enemies while you're recharging your energy. And that goes for your shield as well, but we're not that damaged with our shields, which is basically your health, which is over here, where my mouse is kind of hovering. So, okay, our energy is almost full, so let's get back into combat. This guy's a little bit tough. I don't know if we can actually take him out. He has 2 arrows above his head, which represents that he is about 2 levels above us, which makes him a little bit tougher than usual. Anyone with a skull means they're way above you, and you should just avoid combat with them altogether. Now, I have taken care of 2 arrowed mobs before, so let's see if we can do it with this guy as well. This guy is not taking any damage from us at all. It's terrible. We're probably going to get murdered here. So, you know, when your energy is completely full, the dogfighting can become very, very quick, very, very fast. But when you're trying to manage your energy, we just die. Damn it. And when you die, you lose uranium, which is terrible. But when your energy is full, the dogfighting can become very exciting with a lot of really crazy kind of maneuvers for you to kind of play around with, which is nice, of course. Now, obviously, I pointed out a lot of positives about this game so far. I do enjoy it, I do want to say. I really enjoy kind of just exploring the space station. I like grinding for materials to upgrade my ship. And I, generally speaking, just enjoy exploring the space station and playing through a bit of NeonXSZ, because I do find the customization and the upgrade system quite well versed, quite robust, and I'm always excited to try new things. But you know, the game's not without its flaws. As I mentioned before, it is very, very grindy. Some people are quite sensitive to that kind of gameplay. So there is that, and we just died again. I really gotta watch out for those ships that are higher level than me. They are actually destroying us quite quickly. But yeah, there is that, you know, it is a little bit grindy and can prove a little bit repetitive as well. And it's also a little bit slow. Now, I played this for about 3 to 4 hours, and I've yet to actually get into a new space station. Now, that very well could be just me. Some people could have played it for maybe in just 30 minutes or maybe an hour and find their way into a newer, harder space station right off the bat. Maybe it's just the way I play, but from my experience, which I can only speak for, of course, I found it a little bit slow. I still yet to find a space station that I can travel into. It's probably because I haven't upgraded my ship enough yet. So there is that as well. And although I do like the energy management system, maybe again because I haven't upgraded my ship properly quite yet, maybe I should invest a little bit more into my battery. But I feel it counterintuitive to the way the flight controls and the combat is designed, because I feel when I have full energy and I can kind of dodge around and use my boosts and do barrel rolls and all that stuff, it's extremely fun and exciting. But when I'm low on energy and I have to kind of find cover and kind of really manage, you know, my energy consumption, it slows the combat down significantly. It definitely brings down the excitement level significantly, and that's a little bit unfortunate because that's definitely the aspect I enjoy the most. I really like dodging around and pulling some crazy maneuvers and killing the enemy ships and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, because of the way the energy works, I can't always do that, so there is that. Alright, so it's not perfect. I think the energy could use a little bit of tweaking, but again, because this is an impression video, because, you know, I only have limited experience with the game, it could be because I haven't upgraded my battery enough. And if I have upgraded the battery, if I pay more closer attention to upgrading my battery, then maybe that's not as much of a concern. Alright, so there is that. So overall, I feel that NeonXSZ to be a relatively enjoyable game. It's quite challenging, as you can see. I really got to get out of these high level areas because I keep getting destroyed. Ideally, you want to get into an area that you're capable of killing mobs fairly easily, so you can farm a bunch of them relatively quickly and efficiently, essentially. But, you know, you can't always find the ideal. Okay, this guy I can handle, so let's take care of him. There we go. But yeah, as I was saying, overall, I feel the game is quite enjoyable. I like the way the grind is designed. I like the combat, and I like the way the flight feels. Though I am a little bit on the fence about the way the energy is working out. Just because I feel it is a little bit counterintuitive to the otherwise more fast-paced and exciting flight gameplay that this game can potentially have to offer. Alright, now this game's also in early access, so let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Now not most, but some early access games, when they come out, they feel very, very unfinished and incredibly underdeveloped. Not always, but sometimes. This game, I'm happy to report, is not that case. I've actually talked to the developer through email before making this recording, and he told me that this game's actually been out for a little while in Desura already. And through Desura, he's gotten a lot of feedback, And the version that we're getting on Steam is actually a very, very polished version that was on Desura. Obviously, Desura will get the latest version as well. But the Steam version is a very, very polished version of what's already out. And because of that, the game does feel quite stable. And even as an early access, it does feel like a complete game. So any further updates that we'll get, like most of the good early access games that's out there, it means that it'll feel more like new and free new features for us to kind of experiment and play with, rather than the game subsidizing missing and obvious features, which is of course a good thing. So for those who are interested in this game and might be a little bit iffy on it because it is early access, I can honestly say that your concerns are unnecessary for NeonXSZ. The game does feel very, very complete as it is already. The developer will continue to update and continue to develop the game, of course, which is great. And any new features, it's going to feel more like new content than, you know, missing features being added. So, of course, that's also a good thing. As the game has already been developed for some time already. So yeah, there you go. It's definitely doing early access right, in my opinion. You know, it's, you know, the thing with early access is, you know, the consumer is paying for what's potentially a beta or alpha, and because of that, I feel even at the earliest stage of an early access, the game needs to be enjoyable and at the very least stable. And NeonXSZ nails that, which is great to see, of course. So there you go. Oh, something else I kind of want to mention before I end the video is that if you go to the escape menu, you click this thing here, you can kind of see where you stand among the different factions that's in this world. You have your antivirus, you have your operating systems, your viruses, and your malware, and this is basically how well aligned you are to each faction. And the better aligned you are, the more of the home bases of that faction that you can use. So I did want to mention that as well, and I don't want to miss that as a mechanic as well. So there you go, guys. I think you guys kind of get the points of NeonXSZ. Quite an interesting open world flight shoot 'em up, or flight shoot grind RPG, whatever it is. It's interesting, and I enjoy it very, very much. And I think I can safely recommend it to most people that are watching. Unless you're sensitive to grinds. If you are sensitive to grindy gameplay, then definitely do a little bit more research before making your purchase. But if you are looking for a good time sink, a game that does offer a lot of customization and experimentation, then I think NeonXSZ would be a good choice. Or even for anyone who's looking for a good flight game, as there's not really all that much these days. NeonXSZ definitely fulfills that quite well, as the flight mechanics are quite well designed, as mentioned before. Well, anyways, guys, I think I've blabbed on long enough. I think you guys get the idea of what this game's all about. Definitely check it out if this interests you. If you enjoyed this, if you found this informative or interesting or enjoyable in any way, do show some love, like, share, fave, and comment, and help me grow, feed me my vegetables, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Aldershot out. Kaboom!